In today's video, we're going to talk about some of the most powerful weapons that Ukraine and Russia have in their arsenal. Who do you think has more firepower? Let us know in the comments below. Most of us know about the conflict between Russia and the United States as the Cold War. But did you know that it lasted 45 years? It lasted from March 12, 1947 all the way through to December 26, 1991. During this time, it was common to hear talk about fingers on the nuke, where each country was on the edge of their seat to fire a nuclear missile at the other. The United States has NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which can protect against virtually anything from the ground all the way to low Earth orbit missiles. As many of you know, the United States has been backing Ukraine since the beginning of the conflict, as well as other NATO allies. Without the backing of NATO, would Ukraine have had a chance? Let's find out. Between January and November 2022, the following countries have donated more than $1 billion to the Ukraine war effort. The United States at $18.51 billion, Germany at $2.34 billion, United Kingdom at $1.9, Poland at $1.82, and Canada at $1 billion. For a combined amount of over $24 billion in donations. Let's see what Ukraine has up its sleeve for weapons. Air defenses. Surface-to-air systems have proven to be quite successful against Russian strikes. However, Ukraine has repeatedly demanded more advanced gear to defend itself against attacks by drones supplied by Iran, as well as other airborne weapons that are in the Russian arsenal. The Soviet-era S-300 air defenses, which have a range of approximately 90 kilometers, have been depended on significantly by Kiev. Before the crisis broke out in February, Ukraine possessed approximately 250 S-300s, and there have been efforts to supply them with similar systems stockpiled in other nations that formerly belonged to the Soviet Union, with some of these coming from Slovakia. The S-300 air defense system. Its primary purpose is to intercept missiles or aircraft targets and has a range of up to 56 miles or 90 kilometers. The United States has provided Ukraine with a cutting-edge surface-to-air missile system that is known as NASAMS. There are also rumors that the United States intends to ship a small number of its most advanced Patriot missiles to Ukraine in order to provide the country with air defense. These require highly specialized training, which is most likely to be provided for Ukrainian soldiers at a base of the United States Army located in Germany. In addition, the United Kingdom has contributed numerous air defense systems, one of which is called Starstreak. This system is equipped to fire missiles at low-flying aircraft from a close range. The Starstreak missile. It's designed to specifically target aircraft with a range of 4.3 miles or 7 kilometers and a weight of 31 pounds or 14 kilograms, and can shoot missiles at a staggering 3,100 miles per hour. For our Top Gun fans out there, that's Mach 4. Starstreak is a British surface-to-air missile with a short range that can be used as a man-portable air defense system, or MANPADS, or in heavier systems. It's made in Belfast, Northern Ireland by Thales Air Defence, which used to be called Shorts Missile Systems. It also goes by the name Starstreak HVM, High Velocity Missile. After being fired, the missile speeds up to more than Mach 4. This makes it the fastest surface-to-air missile with a short range. Then it sends out 3 laser-guided submissiles, which make it more likely that the target will be hit. Since 1997, the British Army has been using Starstreak. Long-range rockets. According to experts, Ukraine's artillery and ammunition needs to be greatly improved if the country is to defend strategic sites. So far, the United States and many European countries have shipped at least a dozen long-range rocket launchers to Ukraine. The US uses the M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, sometimes known as HIMARS. The HIMARS rocket launcher system can fire missiles a staggering 50 miles or 80 kilometers away, but one disadvantage is that it requires a crew of 3 to operate. Like many other systems, the HIMARS' range is dependent on the ammunition used, and it is widely held that Western donors have not supplied the longest range ammunition. A range of roughly 50 miles or 80 kilometers is possible thanks to the ammunition claimed to have been provided to Ukraine, making it comparable to or even greater than the Russian Smerch system. When compared to similar Russian systems, HIMARS is thus far more precise. For comparison, the closest vehicle Russia has to compare to the HIMARS is the BM-30 Smerch, with a top range of just 43.5 miles or 70 kilometers, which is about 7 miles shorter. Howitzers. For those military buffs out there, or even our Call of Duty players, most of you I'm sure have heard of howitzers at some point. More than 100 M777 howitzers and 300,000 rounds of 155mm ammunition were shipped to Ukraine by Australia, Canada, and the United States at the beginning of July. As far as range goes, the M777 is comparable to the Russian Gyatsin B howitzer, and well exceeds that of the Russian D-30 towed gun. The M777 howitzer needs a whopping 8 people to operate and can fire at a range of up to 25 miles or 40 kilometers. The 152mm shells used by the Ukrainian artillery were developed during the era of the Warsaw Pact. However, as supplies dwindled, Ukraine is switching to the 155mm ammunition standardized by NATO. It's difficult and time-consuming to keep up with Ukraine's ammunition supplies, and there have been allegations that the Ukrainian armed forces are experiencing a severe shortage in some regions. Anti-tank weapons. Ukraine has received at least 4,000 shoulder-launched NLAW guns, each of which is capable of destroying a tank with a single shot. The NLAW is a next-generation light anti-tank single-use anti-tank weapon that has a weight of 28 pounds but can shoot as close as 22 yards all the way to 875 yards, or 22 to 800 meters. It's believed that these weapons played a crucial role in halting the Russian invasion's subsequent assault on Kiev. According to Justin Bronk of the Royal United Services Institute, the NLAW was undoubtedly critical to defeat the Russian ground troops in the early stages of the conflict. Tanks. More than 230 tanks developed during the Warsaw Pact era have been donated to Ukraine by Poland and the Czech Republic. The most common tank supplied to the Ukraine has been the T-72M1, which weighs 46 tons, requires a team of 3 to operate, and has a max speed of 37 miles per hour or 60 kilometers per hour, and can fire up to 2.5 miles away. Ukraine's armed services have been operating T-72s for decades and have a well-trained crew and access to spare parts. Challenger 2 tanks from the UK are just one example of the alternative weapons that have helped make up for the shortfall left by Poland's supply of tanks. Now that we know what Ukraine has, let's see how Russia stacks up with some of its most menacing weaponry. Russia's military forces have seen a dramatic transition since President Vladimir Putin's re-election in 2012. Militaries are being organized in more efficient brigades. Instead of relying on traditional methods like raw force, this strategy emphasizes cutting-edge technological advancements. Bora-class guided missile hovercraft. The Bora-class guided missile hovercraft is a catamaran fitted with a skirt that enables it to glide through water. The ship can carry up to 68 sailors, has a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour, and is equipped with 8 Mosquito missiles and 20 anti-aircraft missiles. The Pantsir S-1. The Pantsir S-1 is a surface-to-air and anti-aircraft missile system with a combined short to medium firing range. The system includes a total of 12 surface-to-air guided missiles in addition to 2 automatic cannons with a caliber of 30mm. These weapons can be used to defend against aircraft, helicopters, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles. The Novorossiysk. A submarine that is almost impossible to detect, the Novorossiysk was the first of 6 diesel-electric stealth submarines to be constructed, and was launched from a shipyard in St. Petersburg in 2021. The people who designed it claim that its stealth technology makes it almost impossible to spot while it's underwater. The MiG. Here's one our Top Gun fans will know far too well. The one we all know, the MiG. The multi-role jet fighter known as the MiG-35 is effective in both air-to-air combat and ground strikes with pinpoint accuracy. The MiG-35 is able to carry out air reconnaissance missions in addition to engaging in dogfights, destroying sea and surface targets at long range, and doing so while being 30% larger than its predecessor. It's able to do so because it's capable of reaching speeds of up to 2,400 kilometers per hour. The Buk 2 missile system. It's believed that a Buk 2 missile system was responsible for the crash of the Malaysian aircraft in 2014 when it was flying over Ukraine. Its 9M317 missiles have a max range of 46,000 feet and can travel at a speed of Mach 3 while carrying 154-pound warheads. The RS-24. The RS-24 YARS is a thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missile system that has a range of 10,000 miles. It's capable of carrying several independently targetable nuclear warheads and has a range of up to 24 kilotons. Ballistic missiles of the Topol M type are being replaced by this system, which has been operationally deployed since 2010. Each missile had the destructive potential of 100 little boys, which was the name given to the atomic bomb that detonated over Hiroshima in August 1945. The Russian Concorde. The Russian Concorde, or the Tupolev Tu-160, is the largest supersonic combat aircraft in the world. In the 1980s, it was the Soviet Union that was responsible for the design. It's capable of carrying 4,000 kilograms of armaments and sports the most powerful engines ever seen on a combat aircraft. There are currently 16 of them in use. The T-90 tank. The T-90 is the most cutting-edge main battle tank that the Russian armed services have in their arsenal. In addition to a heavy machine gun with anti-aircraft capabilities and a remote-controlled anti-aircraft smoothbore cannon, its primary weapon is a 125mm smoothbore gun with anti-tank capabilities. Borei-class nuclear ballistic missile submarines. The large Typhoon-class nuclear ballistic missile submarines were succeeded by the slightly less huge Borei-class submarines, which have a total displacement of 14,700 tons. However, they are still a formidable adversary because they have the ability to fire 16 Bulava ballistic missiles, each of which can carry between 6 and 10 warheads and has a range of 8,300 kilometers. The Mi-28 Havoc attack helicopter. The Russian Air Force and Russian Army both use the Mi-28 Havoc as their primary attack helicopter. It was designed in Russia. A 30mm Shipunov underslung autocannon and wing stubs that store up to 4 anti-tank missiles, rocket pods, or gun pods are its primary forms of firepower. Both Ukraine and Russia both have some pretty insane weaponry. Who do you think is superior? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching today's video, and while you're here,